Begin our recording now. There we go. Well, I'm really glad to see everybody here. I think, Jill, are you just on a background or she might have stepped away for just a second, but that's okay.
Hi.
There we go. So just a kind of quick recap, and I don't want to rush out of here or anything, but I also don't want to keep everybody on the call and make this kind of a thing of drudgery. So I'm going to kind of recap what we talked about a little bit last week and then kind of get into some fun stuff for this week. If you have any questions, just let me know. So last week we talked about real quick the introduction in terms of the book that I'm getting a lot of this information from. It's called Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor. There it is. Thank you, sir. And I highly recommend that everybody reads it like a million times. I've definitely become obsessed with it. We talked in terms of what our paradigm is, and we kind of described it as sort of what our programming is, the way we view life, the way we view ourselves, our daily habits. It's mostly just our collaboration of habits that have us go through our day. It's like, oh, what do you want for dinner? Chicken or fish? Oh, I don't eat fish, or I don't eat chicken. Whatever the case is, whatever. Like that's just part. It's all part of our paradigm, right? And then we just kind of identified it. We had talked about when our paradigm was written and who wrote it, and we kind of concluded that it was mostly written by our parents, some of our early educators, and then that's when the primary part of it was written. But also, we discussed the fact that our paradigm continues to be written as we continue to live life and learn different lessons and go through different experiences. Our paradigm can change, does change, as we progress. Um, and we talked about the difference of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, and how ideally the subconscious mind is what controls the paradigm. You don't think about your morning routine, and I kind of talked about my personal grooming and hygiene thing. It's 30 minutes in the morning. I go through the sequence. I take a shower, shave, brush your teeth, yada da da da. It's like one thing after the other. It's not, I don't have to think about it. My subconscious mind just controls the process of how that goes, right? And so that's kind of the difference between the subconscious mind is sort of how the things that you don't really think about, you habitually do. You get in the car and you don't really think, okay, what do I have to do now? Turn the key. Okay, put it in gear. You just go through the sequence, right? Whereas the conscious mind is the active part of you that hears a thought, thinks about it a little bit and then proceeds or makes a decision or something like that. And sometimes we don't utilize our conscious mind enough in terms of taking a minute to stop and oh man, that guy cut me off, dude, you're a jerk and all that, right? That's not, you're not taking that moment to think with your conscious mind, me flipping that guy off might cause some road rage. I could get shot. I probably don't need to flip him off, right? Your conscious mind should jump in and kind of filter our actions, right? That's sort of, and then I think we talked a little bit about the difference between responding and reacting, right? Where a reaction is exactly what I just described. The guy cuts me off, I flip him off, that's my reaction. Whereas when you take that second to actually think, that's what's the differentiation between a reaction and a response, is that second where you think. And that's where our mind comes in, and it's so important is to take that second where then you could be like, that's not necessary. I could just sort of let that go. Okay, so any questions about that stuff? All right. So this week I kind of teased, I sent out the little email in terms of how do you personally define success. So I'm going to kind of put you guys on the spot here. Mike, I know you and I talked about this a little earlier, so I'm going to throw you under the bus and make you go first, and then Julia,
Mhm.
and then I'll just kind of, I don't know how you guys see the sequence, but Mike, Julia, Jill, Zeus. So we'll go in that order. Just think of how you define success and just kind of give me your definition.
Yeah, well, when we were talking today, I had initially thought like success was like, like not, like not being afraid to fail, and then like re-examining it in my head, like it's success is conquering the fear, like the freezing fear of like change for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
Like pushing past like my comfort my comfort into a success, like not fearing the fail, but like also moving past where I am, like and taking the next step.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good. I like that. Julia?
For me, when you first asked the question, it made me think of, I have this like letterboard sign in my classroom, and it's like my personal mantra, and I try to teach it to the kids. It's just practice makes progress.
Yep.
Not practice makes perfect, but practice makes progress. And so success to me is just progress, no matter how, what increment it comes in. It's all valuable and it's all a win and counted as
Gotcha.
such.
I love that. That's actually really close to the definition that I have. Jill?
I agree with those two 100%. I'm working on feeling successful, and that would be to me just like basically grow. Like I have a definite growth mindset, so continuing to grow and keeping my family and everybody like happy and balanced. Like to me, that's important, and that's where I feel successful.
Good. I love it. Very good. Zusi?
It's a good question, and honestly, it's not one that can you guys hear me? Want to double
Oh,
check?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not one that I've given much thought, like in terms of, I mean, I should have, but
No big deal.
it's a good question. It's something I definitely want to think about more before I give an answer. I'm kind of on the spot,
That's
but
fair. That's fair. No, that's all right. Ro?
Yep. I thought about it a little bit when I got your email earlier, and I feel like success to me, is something that you and I obviously talk about it a lot, and I feel like it's a balance. It's something that I'm seeking is a balance of work and family success, and the success, I guess, as defined would be happiness in both places. Again, a balance between the two that enables me to reach my goals and live happily day to day. So
Yep.
I think that kind of defines
Finding
my
balance there.
Yep.
Yep. No, I like that. I like that. I think those are all key elements, right? And as individuals, however we define success is our definition of it. That's just how we understand it. The reason I wanted to talk about it is because I feel like I'll speak for myself. When someone asks me in terms of like, do you feel successful or are you successful? I almost put that on such a high pedestal. Like to achieve success is almost like really like you kind of what Julia said, you have to be perfect, or like if you think about like it's not a matter of perfection, right? It's a matter of working towards something, and the definition that's given in the book, and the author of the book, Bob Proctor, often refers back to sort of his mentor and some of and an author of some works that he's in, and the guy's name was Earl Nightingale, and he credits this definition to that gentleman, Earl Nightingale. And what he says is success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal, right? So what does that mean? And it depends on, again, every individual. What is it that you're working towards, right? So if you're a student and you're in school and you're learning and you're studying and it's your goal to pass, Julia, first grade, then if you're doing that and you're moving along that line and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're successful in that venture, right? So that your success is defined there. Now, same time, let's say that you're an athlete, or you're trying to achieve, like you're a weightlifter or something, you're trying to move towards a certain weightlifting goal. If you're in the gym and you're working out and you're doing that and you're moving towards that goal, and you're going to have up days and down days, and you're going to like, damn, I didn't go all last week, whatever the case is. But if you're still in the fight and you're moving towards that goal, it's the progressive realization, that the journey, it's the journey. And that is where the success lies, right? It's your effort, and it's not over, in terms of that, and so for me, this really helped me, because it was just like, to be successful meant that you had to complete something. You had to reach a certain goal, and it's not a matter of actually reaching it. It's a matter of moving towards it. That's where your success is. And if you allow yourself to sort of feel that success and like, hey, I haven't reached my goal yet, but you know what? I'm still driving towards it. And in my mind, it's still in the works. And it may have been delayed. It may have been slowed. I may have had a great week and really progressed towards it this week. All various levels of success. And so that's, to me, was like is a big understanding, is just like, yeah, because, it's not just like, it's not financial. It's not, it's like, it's each different aspect of our lives we can look at in terms of, are we successful in that arena, right? So that's and you guys all kind of touched on it with your own sort of perspective on it, but the bottom line is my point is, I want you to allow yourself to feel successful and to identify where you are successful. I think that's important, because, again, as we talked about last week, in terms of the world does a really good job of beating us up and pressing us down and saying, you're not successful, you're not smart enough, you're not, you're not happy enough, you don't dress right, you don't drive the right car, you don't and here we are like, oh, that's true, I am, again, dang, but it's easy to pile up. What's not easy, for whatever reason, is to say, damn, I'm successful, and feel proud of yourself in that, where you are in your arena, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and to experience that, right? So now we're going to talk a little bit more in terms of like vibrations and frequencies and how that affects us. But I think part of it is where we, how our paradigm was written. Who was it in our mind at what point defined to us how successful we are or aren't in each endeavor? And a lot of times, right, again, it falls back to parents, early educators, those things. Mike and I were talking about in terms of, you may have done something at or learned a life lesson at 12 or 13 years old. And Mike and I specifically were talking earlier about what was it that we were, Mike, it was whether or not you like, if something's going good, right, whatever the case is, right, do you it's basically the old saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
right?
don't touch it if it's working, and it's like, just patchwork everything back. Need to keep it so that it's absolutely the same almost all the time. Like, I don't,
yeah. So like it, which there's you've learned that lesson, right? And you came to a realization at some point, if something's going well and you fiddle with it extra, you might mess it up and break, and then you mess it up. Now, what is it that, whatever we like, if you think about, why do you think that, right? And now we're taking this off Mike. Anytime you have a thought like that, you have to almost reassess, why do I feel that way? Oh yeah, when I was 12, 13, 14, 26, whatever the case was, I tried this in this situation and it messed up one time, maybe a couple times. And then now I hold the belief, it's within my paradigm. My understanding is, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So but then that, which there is logic to that, there's truth to that, there's that does work. But then how do you, what Mike was discussing is, how do you grow then, if you're like, well, we're doing good, but maybe we could be great if we tried this. But if we try that, right, then now I'm like, but I already know, if we're good and I try something, it probably goes bad. And so then what do? We freeze. I'm not going to move forward. This is good. That's acceptable, right? And that's just sort of paradigm. How do you change something like that? It's tough, right? And that's sort of what we're getting to, right? In sort of understanding how the paradigm works against us, and really what it takes to actually change it, right? Because it's a major change, and if it's already part of your values, your belief system, all that is integrated. it's strongly integrated, right? Again, because you've learned this a long time ago. You've come to truly believe it. It's worked well for you up to this point, yada, yada, yada. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Okay. Now, a couple things. I want us to think in terms of having awareness. All right. Awareness of what? Awareness, first of all, of our oneness with all that exists. Okay. So this is sort of where we kind of begin to get into how and why various religions define the same phenomenon as God. What happened? I thought it
I'm
was
sorry.
okay.
I
No,
just
no,
blew
no.
my nose.
No, you're all good. And this is where religions define this factor as God. It's the connection. It's the universal, right? Energy. It's the, chakras and all that stuff. And it does. We don't have to put a label on what it is or how it works. But what I do want you guys to begin to explore, if you don't already have that understanding of universal connection and that how all of our energies relate to one another and how all things within the universe are all, we're all existing in the same plane at the same time, and we're all connected through our energies and through vibrations and through frequencies. Does everybody kind of feel me on kind of where I'm going with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So now the other thing is in terms of awareness, again, bringing up the conscious mind versus the subconscious mind. And we talked a little bit last week about every single one of us has inside of us a little whiner that said you think, man, I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and I'm going for a jog, or I'm going to go work out, or I'm going to, I'm going to wake up early and spend some time reading or meditating or something like that. And then the alarm goes off at 5:30. And what happens? The little whiner speaks up. Fuck that. What are you doing? It's 5:30. Why would you wake up right now? This is so comfortable in the bed. Little whiner starts talking. And if you listen, the little whiner's going to win that conversation every time. It's the conscious mind, right, that has to step in and be like, shut up, little whiner. Like that, I'm not listening to you. I've determined that I'm going to already at 5:30. So I am going to do that. Conscious mind, you have the control, but often we just go, the little whiner says, it did sprinkle last night, so obviously I can't run today, or whatever. We anything could be an excuse, right? So just kind of understanding that concept about that your conscious mind is able to silence the little whiner. And sometimes we just get spun out. And if we don't take that moment to figure out how to silence that, how to shut down all, because it's not maybe sometimes it's not just the one little whiner's not hitting you with, it rained, your knee is achy, that like it's all of a sudden it's going to start showering down. But at the same time, you could just, none of that matters. I'm going to go out there and do what I said I was going to do because that's what I want to do, right? So aware of the conscious mind and its ability to overpower the little whiner and whatever else is happening, right? Okay. The other awareness is utilizing our conscious mind is the only way that we're able to change our paradigm, okay? So what we, again, not to rehash the same stuff, but our paradigm is the subconscious stuff. It's our habits. It's things we've already done. Any change to the paradigm is going to be a dramatic effort. And your whole everything that you've, right, there's a reason that you do what you do, why you do, when you do. So to change it, you have to consistently utilize your conscious mind to fight against that over a period of time. How was it that you came to do whatever it was is repetition, right? We kind of talked about this last week. So again, I'm not going to hammer on that concept too long, but when it comes to advertising, if you're watching a show and you see an advertisement and they're, so we talked about Burger King, right? BK, We all know the rest of that
Yeah.
tune because it's been beat into our mind. We just know it, right? So how the same way you have to utilize that conscious mind to hit that repetition and tell yourself, I am good enough. I can do this. I am going to go on that run. I'm not going to eat that extra donut today. I am going to spend some time reading. And the conscious mind has to battle that subconscious, which if it's already in the subconscious, that means it's already locked in and you got to pry it out, right? Because not only, let's say it's you know, for me, it's a battle with my blood sugar, right? So not only is it a matter of me not getting to eat what I don't want, right? It's like a double whammy because I have to make that decision to not eat that, and then I also miss, right? Just like it's like a twofold, and it's not going to happen one day, 2 days. We all know that to form a habit takes consistent effort over an extended period of time. I've heard 60 days, 90 days, you know, whatever it is, it's a consistency over a period of time. So whatever that is, that's kind of what we want. That's why I wanted to talk about success. What if you decide that you want to go on a jog and you want to be able to jog 5 miles, right? The first day you get out there, you realize, holy shit, I'm way out of shape. I jogged half a block and I'm wheezing. I can't barely breathe. That's it. So then you feel what? You feel defeated. But hey, you got out there. That's success. That's you're beginning the process. You're taking those steps, right? So again, I don't want to stay on that topic for too long, but the conscious mind is what we need to utilize, and we all have that ability to focus it and put it to work for us. All right. Okay. So we talked about the awareness of stuff. Now, this is to me, this is one of the most important things that we're going to talk about in these little chats. And this is the whole how the mass, energy, and vibration, how it works for us as individuals, right? So we're connected. We talked about our connection to the universe, the awareness of all that connection. How do we interact with the universe, right? What kind of energy are we putting out to the universe is going to determine what kind of energy we're getting back from the universe. And that's one of the key concepts, right? So our bodies contain energy, right? So let me ask you this. Sometimes you feel tired, you're worn out, energy's low, but then somebody says, hey, you want to go do something that you love to do? Yep, energy's up. I'm ready to roll, right? If you love to do it, and now you have the opportunity to do it, and now you went from, oh, I'm so exhausted, to, oh, shit, we're going to do that. Where did that energy magically come from? It doesn't. It's there. It's there. It's a mindset, right? So think about that in terms of, you know, your energy is released from within. You don't gain energy from anywhere. You release it from within, and it's all part of your mindset, and you're able to access that energy as part of your mindset, right? So every single interaction that we have, every single thing that we do through our day affects our overall vibration. Okay. Now let's just say I had a terrible day. I woke up, everybody knows I got my old puppy Reggie. Let's say Reggie peed on the floor. And the first thing I did was step in a puddle of pee. And then I tripped and I fell over. And then I spilled my cup of coffee. And, just one of those days. And we've all had them, right? And so I'm feeling entirely defeated. And so, and then I come across, I see Zeus, first thing, what is my energy going to be to Zeus? Or what could my energy be potentially if I just sort of went through all that stuff? Is Zeus going to feel a positive energy for me, or is the fact that I just went through all that stuff probably going to have me not such good energy, and Zeus is going to be able to feel that right away? I don't even have to say anything. He could just see the look on my face and feel that energy. We've all done that. Or like you walk into a room and maybe there was a tough conversation going on, and you could just sort of look around and you're like, ooh, energy's kind of off. Something, I don't know what it is, but the energy's off, right? We are all vibrating. We're all emitting on a certain frequency. All right. And so that concept is key to understand. And so if I walk into a room, have you ever been around a situation where someone was just laughing hysterically? I could do it right now. Just start laughing hysterically. And if I didn't stop, every single one of you would start laughing. It would just trigger laughter within you, right? And so kind of think about that sort of thing. If when that is, and you're laughing because I'm laughing, you're feeding off of my energy. At the same time, if I'm in here and I just start crying uncontrollably, and you could just see the pain in my face, that's it, right? The energy, you're feeling that, not even knowing what I'm laughing about or what I'm crying about. You seeing that happen with me and my energy, you're going to feel that energy, right? So what's important about all that is to understand that if what we're thinking about is where our energy is going to go. Okay. So if all I'm thinking about is, dang, I stepped in the pee, the coffee spilled, that this happened, it's going to be a long day. If that's where, so my vibration then is going to be, the way I view it is angry, anything upset, a negative energy, like literally the frequency, I feel like it's a short, sharp frequency. And so it's like, think of a saw blade. If my energy is saw blade, and I walk into a room and just the scowl on my face and just the word, everything that it's like just saw blade, saw blade, saw blade. You know what I mean? And that's, so what am I going to receive from the world? I walk into I go into the grocery store and I'm in saw blade mode, and the person's like, can I help you? And I'm like, they're going to be like, damn, what's wrong with that guy? Right. So immediately their energy is going to be affected by my energy. And what am I going to get from them? Saw blade energy. I'm getting what I'm emitting. I don't even have to say anything. I could just have that mean look on my face. People could feel that energy, right? Okay. So the other thing about this is understanding how everything in our lives affects our vibration. And this is unbelievable to me. This is something that I've recently personally experienced on a couple different occasions, where there is a physical reaction, a physical manifestation, right, of energy. So if you think in terms of all of us, just right now, just think of an interaction that you've had maybe within the last week or 2 weeks of maybe somebody just said something to you and it just cut you, and you're just like, man, they said, and just so think about that vibration and that feeling that you had, and then understand that somewhere literally in your body, there's a muscle that's physically holding that thought. Fuck that person for saying that to me. I can't believe, and it's just right. And so when you ball up a fist and you hold it tight, you're expending energy into that, right? And you might not be aware of it. You might be, if it's fresh in your mind and it keeps popping up, you might be actually aware of it. But there's other interactions that you're not aware of that are tense and they're right. And so the more tense, negative stuff that you're holding onto, the more your whole vibration is brought down, and you only then able to achieve or receive from the world that which matches your area of vibration. Okay. So now I went through this personally, and I think with the group here, I've talked to most of you about it personally. Probably a year ago at this point, Amy and I were having a conversation, and we were talking about my dad and Amy's daughters have a similar situation to my dad and my siblings. Thank you all for being here. In terms of kind of bounced out of the picture and didn't come back and didn't take care of us kids. Very, very strange situation. And so I can't remember how it all came up at this point, but we were talking about it, and Amy started asking me, certain things about how it made me feel, and it really made me do a deep self-reflection because I was reliving the pain as I was watching her girls go through it with their dad. I'm like, God, that's such a fucked up thing. And then all of a sudden, like, I was like, oh yeah. And that was really fucked up for us too. And for me. And but I have sort of, I'm tough. I don't, like I've kind of stuffed that emotion down, and like I don't even visit that. I don't need that. I need that's a, but what I didn't realize is as you stuff it down, to hold it down, to keep on to that means somewhere physically in your body, there's a muscle, there's multiple muscles, there's a cramp, there's a flex, there's some negative physical force. This is the part I couldn't get. Like, really? Physically, I'm holding on to it. Physically, like mentally, I get it's in there. It's bothering me, but like somewhere literally physically I'm holding it. And so as we talked about this, it really it started to stir up emotions. I started to cry. And I literally, as I cried more and I cried, and all of a sudden it was as if like we literally refer to it as my exorcism, as literally as if a demon left my body. And I mean, I was sobbing, like I could barely breathe. I mean, like it was an ugly cry. But at the same time, as we're going through it and as I'm talking about it, I felt that fucking demon leave my body physically. And then I was like exhausted, and then I was just like if it was the craziest thing, and it took me a while to just even be able to breathe and recover. And she was just holding me, and I was just it was crazy. And that was my first experience with the physical holding on to of the emotion like that. And I was like, God damn. But I had not even yet touched the Paradigm book, so I had not even begun to articulate how that works in terms of vibrations and the energy within me and all that. And it's just like, when I first read the book, I was like, oh shit, that's like, wow, right now I'm getting what we're talking about. Fast forward a little bit more recently, and I think I've shared this with you guys as well. I got a call on the Go Green phone. It was a FaceTime call from my dad. And I had been reading the book, and I had now I'm deep into it. Now I'm like, oh shit, this book's business. I want to read it. I want to get into it. And so that day I had been focusing on the topic of, like, the author suggests that every day we express gratitude. He says, write out 10 things that you're grateful for and send 3 people love. And I was chewing on, what does that mean to send 3? And what he specifically says is send 3 people that bother you love. And I'm like, what does that mean to send somebody love? And I'm chewing on it and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, that is really like, you have to dig in to your soul. If somebody's really bothering you and you're kind of mad at them and you're irritated by them, you have to dig in there, turn some stuff around, and find that emotion and choose then consciously to let it go and to release it and to turn it into a positive and say, you know what, that person's bothering me, but I'm going to let it go. And so I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, who bothers me? Like, who really bothers me? And I came up with, like one of our cousins, and I'm not going to mention names, but I'm like, that person kind of bothers me. They're a little irritating. I'm like, but I don't really feel like it affects me like it really bothers me. But now I've come to realize that every single little misgiving that you have towards anybody bothers you, and it's in you, and it's physically affecting you. All right. And this is what really kind of locked it in for me. As I'm thinking about this and chewing on this, I come home, I sit down, I'm reading the book again, reading over the same stuff. The Go Green phone rings. I don't really even look at who it is. I decide to answer it. I swipe, and as I swipe, I look, and I'm like, oh, it's a FaceTime call. I'm like, who's calling Go Green FaceTime? Pick the phone up. Boom. There I am, face to face with my dad, who I haven't talked to in at least 5 years, probably closer to 10. And I would not have answered that call if I knew that it was him calling. So then boom, right in that fucking second, I'm looking at it, I'm face to face, and I have to make a decision. Do I be mad at him, or do I physically let it go? And then begin just have a conversation with them without holding on to that negative energy. And right in that moment, boom, only because I had been reading the book right then and there that I say, you know what? I made the decision. I had that second conscious mind said, let it go. Just have the conversation. You don't need to be a jerk. You don't need to express to him whatever, just let it go. And right then and there, I made that choice. We had a conversation. And again, as I made the choice and as the conversation went, I physically felt a release. I physically felt a lightening in my body as we wrapped up that call. And it just really made me think like, wow, I wasn't even aware of the fact that of course he bothers me, right? You know what I'm saying? He fucking left us. You know, he hasn't done anything as a father should forever. Like, yes, it bothers me, but I hadn't even acknowledged to myself when I thought about it that very fucking morning, who bothers me? He didn't even come up. He literally didn't even come up. I'm like, that's the most bothersome person in my entire life of all the people who have ever done anything to me that's dirty and like it's that fucker, right? So, right, it's critical for us to all begin to explore and understand who, what, every little situation as it comes up. We got to let it go. You got to let it. You can, and if you don't let it go, right? This is the and we've all heard this before. Forgiveness is for the forgiver, not the forgivee. It's my energy. It's my vibration. It's my internals that are being fucked up and disturbed by how I feel about that person. Now, if I let it go, did I really let that, like, or that, do they feel free? No, it doesn't affect them at all. The only thing that it affects is me, right? And that, like, that's another one of those, like, oh shit, like how many different things are we each holding on to that are only affecting us? Did you wait? Is that a
Sorry, I was my son just walked in here and was just waving.
no? You're all good. I thought you had something to add to that. And that is a very critical
Please go, son.
understanding. He's fine. So
Go, please.
Noobski, you could like there's a mute button if you that way he could say whatever he wants.
Sorry.
But just remember that our overall vibration is affected by all those little things, right? And our overall vibration is how we project into the world and how we receive from the world. So if I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to go out in the world and what's going to be attracted to me? Bad energy, bad things. It's going to keep piling up. But if I could be like, you know what, I had a tough morning, but I'm going to shift it around and I'm going to focus on what I'm grateful for. And I'm going to remember today that I have a good life and that and just start listing off the little things that I'm grateful for. I'm able to whirl it around, change my whole vibration, focus on the positive, focus on what I'm grateful for, focus on what I love. And all of a sudden, I'm raising my frequency. And then I go out into the world and I'm projecting onto the world at this higher frequency. And what I'm receiving then from the world is on a higher frequency. And that other low level frequency shit can't talk to me because I'm not hearing it on that level. You're not even addressing me because I'm floating up here on this frequency and I'm thinking about this stuff and all that. You could save all that lower stuff because I'm not going to let it catch up to me. My conscious mind is going to tell me I am good enough. I am smart enough. It doesn't matter how fucking bald I am. I'm still a handsome dude. All these things that the world tells us, Zeus knows like how I feel about baldism, but all these negative things that the world beats us down with, we can filter out, we can overcome. And that's the point of all this is to make all of us understand that we have some control and we have an ability to push through, to change how we feel despite our circumstances. Our circumstances are only, they're just circumstances. It's all about here. It's all about my predetermination, which kind of takes us now into our higher mental faculties. We're going a little bit longer than I wanted to, and I don't want to just rush through this, but I'm going to kind of, brush through it a little bit faster than I wanted to. But the main thing that we wanted to talk about here are in the mental faculties: memory, perception, will, reason, imagination, and intuition. And I'm not going to get onto a different tangent here, but the book talks about how these are our higher mental faculties, and why it asks, are we not exploring these more in our education system? Why are we not taught how to use these things? How is it, we all kind of, to us, like using your imagination. So who does that? Did someone just say, who uses their imagination?
Kids.
Kids. Fuck that. The truth is that if we use our imagination and we envision what we want in our lives, we can achieve it better if we can think about it and put ourselves there. And we'll get into all that later. But why are we not? Why do we think it's for kids? That's it. Again, who taught us that? What's that part of?
Paradigm.
Our part is programmed. Every single one of us, when I said who uses their imagination, all of us thought kids. All of us. We've all been programmed to believe that. Why? Okay. Now, we're going to get down into when JFK, I thought about it, and this is something that I've always I felt like I've had as a strength, but I realized it it's an entity that I have. It's not as strong as I thought I was with it, and I feel like other people don't understand how strong they are with it, and it's the will. JFK asked aerospace engineer, this is directly out of the book, Werner von Braun, obviously this was back in the 60s, what would it take to build a rocket that would carry a person to the moon and then bring it back safely to Earth? And what was his response? The will to do it. We just got to want to do it, right? Think about what was life like, or think about what you would have thought if you were around the Wright brothers when they started building a plane, right? We're talking about the 1900s, right? Cars are barely around. Everybody must have thought they were crazy. You're going to fly? You're going to be in some kind of machine that flies? Like what, are you nuts? We have a couple of electricians here. The thought of having electricity in a house was insane. What are you're gonna fry the house? Everything's gonna burn down. You're gonna bring electricity into a house? Are you nuts? You know what I mean? So all the ideas that have ever, breakthrough ideas that have ever come to the human race have been an outrageous thought at the time, right? How do we get to the moon and back? We just got to really determine that we're going to do it. It's the will. We have the will, right? And, Roe is a witness. We taught ourselves how to walk on our hands. What was what was driving that? Nothing. We just decided we wanted to do it, and we started fucking practicing it, and we just did it. Why? For no reason. We just wanted to. The will. It was the will. If we can focus and set our mind on a goal, right? So think of the imagination. You imagine that shit, and then the will, you make a determination. That's going to happen. And then you decide, it doesn't matter what the circumstances that come my way while I'm trying to reach that success. I'm fucking going to get there. I'm pushing through. It's the will. Just that alone. Well, how do we not use that more? Why aren't we taught how to use that more? Why isn't that emphasized more? Right? Like that's it's one of those things. Okay. So the will enables us to hold on to one idea on the screen of our mind to the exclusion of all outside distraction. It doesn't matter what comes again, it doesn't matter if I wake up and I'm going to go on that run and it's raining a little bit. I don't know if you guys have, I know Zeus has listened to David Goggins, bro. I know you've listened to some of his stuff. He in his books, he talks about like an amazing will and predetermination and like getting out there and running in Chicago, I think is where he's talking about. It's freezing, winter. And he's like, it doesn't matter. I'm getting out there. I'm going on my run. It's the will. It's the drive. It's predetermined. It doesn't matter when I wake up, what the weather is or how my ankle feels or what it is. I've already determined the will. We're going. Andrew Carnegie's quote, he says, any idea, this is important. This is really, really important. And then we're going to wrap it up. Any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, where you're focusing, it's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin to at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. One of the first laws of the universe is the perpetual transmutation of energy. Energies are forever moving into form, through form, and back out of form. Now, if all you focus on is positive and growth and again, if you have a goal in mind and you're focusing on that goal, you're going to begin to move towards that goal. If all you focus on is the negatives, the obstructions, the obstacles that might pop up, the challenges, all you're thinking about is the challenges that prevent you from moving forward, you're going to drag yourself down. And that's where your vibration is going to be. That's where your energy is going to go, to focusing on and manifesting those negative things. Like if all of like, oh my God, I know for sure my car is going to break down this week. I know it. I just know it. And somehow you're just manifesting it until it happens. Like you start driving it differently, or you start, treating it different. I don't know, but somehow subconsciously you begin to work towards what you're thinking about. Right. And it's kind of a weird thing, but if you look at fear and faith, and we're going to wrap it up with this. Fear is a belief in something that has not happened yet. Right. Faith is a belief in something that has not happened yet. Fear and faith are like opposites of the same coin. It's so where do you put your energy? Into the fear or into the faith? Do you just assume that things are going to happen well for you and you're going to vibe at that level and you expect good things? Or are you going to vibe at this level and be fear-based and always scared, and everything that all your energy is locked into the fear cycle? You're going to be vibing at that sawtooth level, whereas opposed to if you're over here, like it's going to happen, it's going to be good, things are going to work out, even if there's challenges and obstacles, which of course they're going to be, I'm going to be able to work through them, and you just stay on that vibe. Your energy just changes subconsciously. And that's the thing that we have to realize, is we have to change it subconsciously, which means you might not even realize here, which is why we have to consciously, continuously focus on that energy. You have to fight that paradigm, that inside whiner that's telling you can't do this, you're not good enough for that. You got to fight that constantly to begin to change the paradigm. Positive focus. All right. So that's it. I don't want to, if anybody has any comments or anything like that, we're definitely open to talk about anything like that. But again, we're pushing up on an hour here, and I don't want to keep you guys definitely any longer than that.
I appreciate the call out. I needed it.
Yeah, no, the reminder, the homework is allow yourself to feel successful. Allow yourself to feel the positive vibrations. Remind yourself why you're great. Shut the inner whiner down and boost yourself up. And you have to do it daily. You have to do it consistently all the time. Why? Because the world is definitely, how do they get you to buy anything? Oh, your clothes look old. You got to buy these new jeans. Oh, your car looks old. You got to drive this new one. They beat us down on purpose on a daily basis. So if we don't counteract that somehow with a positive intention, with a positive effort, how could you possibly vibe at a higher level when they need you to vibe at a lower level? That's where they find, success. That's how they get us to spend money. Oh, you're fat, you got to spend money. Oh, you dress funny, you got to spend money. Oh, yeah, right. Like we bought all in. as American consumers.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. And like the energies thing, like you can feel it mostly like, or I feel it the most viscerally when I like drive, because like
Wow.
like if somebody fucking does something, or like some idiot does an accelerator to get on the freeway, it can tilt you like
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
for the entire drive, and I'll just be driving aggressively, and I'll be like, I gotta chill. Like
Yeah.
I gotta chill because I don't want to get a ticket. I don't want to wreck. But you know, like
That's a great example, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
most of us, most
All of
people,
us.
yeah. I mean, of what is it
React that
about
way.
driving? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm horrible.
I'm on
Zeus
the
has to
road
remind me
all
all the
day.
time. Yeah, it's and it's easy to get caught up with that, Mike. That's a perfect example of how our energy one little cut. It ain't even got to cut us off. Fuck, dude, accelerate. Like like get off your phone. Quit
Yeah.
leaving a 3-car gap. Like what? I'm upset because you're leaving a 3-car gap, even though it doesn't really affect me at all. It's pissing me
Yeah.
off because
Yep.
I know you shouldn't be doing it. It's affecting my energy, right? So it's excellent point, Mike, and that's a perfect example of how our energy can be affected so easily. And now you're sawtoothing it, and now all of a sudden Julia calls, and you're like, "Arr!" and Julia's like, "Oh, hey."
Yeah, whoops.
I came in the office the other day. I don't even remember what it was, but I was upset for other shit. And Mike got an earful, Zeus got an earful, and then I realized like I'm handing out earfuls. Why am I handing out earfuls to these guys? They didn't do anything. I had to like refocus and be like, okay,
yeah.
let me regather myself and realize for whatever reason my vibe was off. I was sawtoothing it and and it's easy to do, and it's easy to get caught up in, and it's easy to justify your feeling like I got cut off. They did me dirty, right? And you're like in your mind, that's a perfect validation.
Yeah.
Zeus, I felt like you were going to say something. You sat forward all excited. I could tell.
No, I was remembering like the moment that you were sharing
Yeah.
with the like coming
When
into the
I
office.
was sawtoothing you guys.
Yeah.
I as the paradigm preacher, which is hilarious, but I'm not perfect. I certainly haven't mastered this material in any way. I'm still working on, and it's an ongoing project. We're all works in progress. But I'm going to consider myself successful in that I have applied these principles sometimes. Like, am I doing it every day? No. But do I understand the benefit? Have I done it and reaped some benefit from it? Yeah. Am I adjusting on the fly as I go? Yes. Right. And that's all we can do. And again, I have to allow myself to feel successful with that. I'm a little bit, even the smallest bit better today than I was yesterday. That's success. That's success. And it's all about, right? Go ahead, Mike.
that's the definition of success. You remember that takes us back to the beginning is, it's furthering, the what is it? Something goal. I can't remember the term.
It's a progressive realization, right? Yeah. So every step, every act, even if I slid back, my eyes are still on the prize. I want to be a better person. I want to vibe better. I want to be, just like, my desire, my will to do it. I'm locked in. It's going to happen. It's going to happen regardless of what happens on the way. I'm going to get there. Right. All right. I appreciate you guys' time. We're at an hour. I definitely don't want to make it go longer than that. I will send out a recap. The AI of this is incredible. Just kind of summarizes everything. So I will send that out again, and we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I really appreciate you guys being here. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, Sam, you little teacup there.
Yeah.
Tiny little itty bitty.
Look at him.
Him and Reg think they're opposites. Reggie thinks he's a 75-pound, bull mastiff.
Puppy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You show him the teeth you lost today.
Yeah, he lost a tooth today again.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been
big
like
boy.
one a day for the past week.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, guys. Thanks again.
Congratulations, softballers.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
absolutely. Next season
All right,
starts
see
right
you
away.
guys next
Very
week.
excited.
See you next week.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night,
Bye-bye.
guys.
You too.
See you
Good night.
later.